Hello people, it's me Jess, here with another reading. Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I thought we would do a quick reading on who is thankful for you. But it better not be that many people because I have places to go. So if you are like a Mother Teresa or something, we're all thankful for you. Thank you for walking among us, but you've got to click off of this video because I need this to be fast. I'm kidding. So anyways, we've got some interesting cards that came out because if you've been watching my channel, you've probably heard me explain that I never like select these. I just shuffle and then whatever comes out. So, you know, we got some interesting flavors here. So, we've got 3 piles here, pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. I'll put your picture up and we will see you at your piles. Oh my gosh, pile number 1, I should have guessed this because you literally got the gratitude card, but there are so many people here that are thankful for you. And I get the sense that a lot of you could work in pro-social fields, like helping fields, because there's a group of people here and that I think you work with or you see on some kind of rotating basis or something like that. But they seem to need a lot of nurturing, and maybe there is a lot of confusion for these people. I think they might be young people, or there's a sense of them being like less developed than you in a certain area, right? So I'm thinking like teachers or any of the professions, honestly, where it's like you have expert level knowledge in something, but other people don't know those same things, so they go to you to get your like help, opinion, and guidance. People really love to hear your take on things because it's always so well informed. And there's a sense that's coming from these people that it took a long time to get to where it is that you are at right now with your knowledge and with your skill set and how you are able to be so well balanced here in how you show up for people. There's also a sense that you could be a lot more conceited about what it is that you do, but that you are more about like the results than you are about the spoils. And people tend to really appreciate that about you as well. Like they think you earn everything that you get and more, and people really, really love to celebrate you. There's a sense that you go above and beyond for people. Like you're very holistic in whatever it is that you do. And it's that sense that you do more than just what's on your job description that you could find in an HR office. It's not required of you. It's not even like a baseline for your profession or your, you know, whatever your field you're working in or arena that you're working in, but you still show up that way anyways because you are, you're just about, you give so selflessly. That's really how people view you. Some people might even think that you are making some sort of sacrifice of yourself, or that you maybe you're a martyr in some way. But these people, like, there's a sense that you nurture and that you care for these people, but it's also, like I said, it's holistic. And this is making me think of a teacher that I used to work with, because she was very firm, and she was able to create a container for the kids that she worked with so that everybody there felt freer and felt more safe. And she was very consistent and very reliable. You always knew what was going to come out of her mouth. It would be simple, it would be direct, it would be the same thing every time. And I think a lot of you have that ability here where, you know how to show up, and you have a way of getting right to the heart and right to the point of things. And if that's what needs to happen, then you do it. You're not rude, but you can be more firm and you can be more forceful in order to keep people exactly where they need to be in order to achieve some kind of results, or to keep them on some kind of track, on some kind of path forward. You really can do that, and people trust you. Maybe not at first, but people definitely do trust you, because then you're also very nice and loving and nurturing and caring. I feel like you're really good at setting up an environment. And I think that is also, like, physically. You might have a really good eye. Like, you might be really good spatially, because there's a sense of the space around you energetically and also in its, like, structure and setup feeling really nice. It's just, I'm hearing someone like, like whenever they're around, and in whatever space that you provide. I think a lot of you might do very well for yourself, and maybe you live in more than one place, or maybe you work out of more than one place. Like, I don't know, there is a sense of you work out of multiple offices, or like you have multiple houses, because there's a sense that in each of these places, people are grateful for you for different reasons, if that makes sense. So maybe there's like a business side to you and a social side. Again, it's like you show up, you meet the space that you're in, and you show up. You're good at deciding how to show up in a casual way or not in a casual way, all of that. I get the sense here that these people that are grateful for you could super articulate, like, exactly the impact that you have had on their lives. I feel like a lot of these people have been confused or searching for answers here for a while, and you're able to get to the heart of it, and you're able to make sense of things, and it just provides so much relief for these people. And also, I feel like, this is weird, but I think you solve problems for people that they didn't even know they had. Or you connect the dots between things that they didn't know were really connected. Yeah. It's like you shepherd people through the darkness. And there's also a sense here, because usually with the moon card in this deck, like I get the cat looking at this panther like, oh my gosh, making mountains out of molehills kind of a vibe. But here it's almost like people, through your eyes, they see a version of themselves that is better, that is more whole, that is happier. It's like, think about what I can be if I apply this approach from pile number one, or, just, and also you set a good example, like in the way you live your life, because there is a sense of people watching you, and they learn about how to be just from watching you, like how you enter a room, how you walk, the things that you say. I think a lot of you move with like a lot of grace or elegance or something like that. I'm hearing what to do with my hands. And now I'm seeing Will Ferrell in Talladega Nights when he's giving his first interview after he wins that race, and he's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, now I'm seeing Jack Dawson from Titanic when he goes down to that fancy dinner. And there is a sense of like you having a certain flow or elegance to you. And it doesn't have to be fancy people elegance. This, I think, is just a very simple elegance of just knowing how to move through life. I think a lot of you are really good at like dressing yourself in a way that is elegant. It feels just simple, but like elegant. I think some of you, people like your necklaces and like your jewelry. Some of you do your nails really nice, and your cuticle care is like really on point, and people notice. If you don't think people notice, they do. Yeah. And White Buffalo Woman up here, she is a bringer of peace. She came to teach humanity how to better live. And I think some of you, it's like you really do improve people's lives through some sort of advice or skill set, knowledge, your ability to see exactly what's going on in a situation. But her very first act, I always think of this with her, she had to smite people who were being rude and who were being gross to her. And so that's where that like toughness comes in, of where you don't really, you're not a nonsense kind of a person. And that's a part of this space. Like, people don't act up around you, because if they did, I think you could say something, and not in a rude way. It would just be like, we don't do that in here, yeah, like that. And it just makes people feel contained and comfortable. There's a sense of you bringing balance and harmony to things, whether it's people's body, or I heard their skin, their body, their skin, their mind, their soul. Yeah. And I think these people have really needed it, truly. And I'm hearing stop and go. Like I said, you're so balanced. It's not like a one size fits all for you. It's like, okay, well, now is seasons and process. So yeah, you understand like the process. You can really help usher people through process. And there's a sense that maybe you work with people for a season, maybe a difficult season of their life, or there's a lot of transition, or you help people transition in some way. Maybe people who are dealing with loss, or confusion, addiction even. I know these are very specific, but maybe even sugar. Some of you are good cooks, though. I'll say that. Like, if you bring treats places, people like the treats you bring. Yeah. There's a sense that like what is good. I think you're authorities, but you handle it, like you hold it well. So, and you like to celebrate other people too. I'm hearing stabilizer and moderation, and you remain calm. Can't underestimate somebody who can remain calm and level-headed, and you sort through things. You sort through the Maya. That's what you do. And, you get right to the heart of it. There's a sense of a lot of information sometimes coming at you, and possibly a lot of emotion. And you're able to hold that space. This is beautiful. You guys are very multi-talented. This is hard to do all at once. I'm literally picturing someone like riding a unicycle, like honking a horn, balancing something on their head, eating an apple. Like, you're doing a lot of little things at once. And if you don't think that people realize the finesse and the nuance that go into that, I'm here to tell you they do. They really, really do. And a lot of people want you to know that you have made them feel more independent or more capable. And in navigating their own situations, you've restored a sense of abundance and peace to their own life. And through some kind of skill set that you have, through making some sort of sense, of something that maybe they didn't even realize they were struggling with or confused about. This is so beautiful. And I think you deal with people who don't like to be confused, or they don't like to be in like an emotional state of doubt or mental state of doubt. And maybe some of you, like, you set the standard for a lot of people, and you have really good timing. There's a lot of mastery that is coming through this pile to know when to do something and how to deliver it for maximum effectiveness. That's really what I'm hearing. So skillful, all of you. And a lot of you, this is like, you help people with turning points in their lives, how to close one door and open another door. Again, this is this rite of passage or transitionary thing. And the energy just feels so good around you, truly. I can't remember if I said this before, but I'm getting it again if I did. But it's like, I think there's something about a physical space that you make really nice, like maybe it even feels a bit luxurious, but it feels stable and warm and soft. And like Taurus, for me, it's like it's not gaudy or like going over the top with things, but everything you need is there, and the stuff that's there is really nice. That's Taurus. And some of you could garden and things like that, but then with this Pisces energy, I'm just getting the physical space itself is very nice and stable and firm and sturdy. And then like with this Pisces energy, the energy just around you is so nice because of like this container that you've created. And some of you, I'm hearing, are the space. like your physical presence just carries this. Anyways, I'm gonna stop gushing over you guys. Pile number one, thank you so much for watching my channel. I feel so honored. I love doing this reading. I loved doing it last year because I was like, I have some really cool people that watch this channel. So thanks for existing, you guys, and I hope you have a really happy Thanksgiving with the people who so love and appreciate you. Bye, guys. Okay, yes. Pile number two, I was wondering if there is a connection to pile number one, and I think there is for a lot of you. Like, this almost looks like a subset of that, so some of you guys might have come over from that pile, but okay, who is thankful for you? Well, I think these are people who are powerful here in some way. They are magnetic people, warm people, loving people, all the Leo things, right? Like warm, loving, creative, passionate, vital, maybe even, I think, social people. These also could be people with families that, you know, maybe they're matriarch or patriarchs here of their families. And I also think that they are very... I'm getting just strongly creative people, very loving people as well, probably like very beautiful, but these are just very well-rounded people that have a good solid sense of self, and they're very warm. And I feel like there's a sense that these types of people are really drawn to you because you might, I'm hearing death doula. I think, did we get this last year? I can't remember, but you have death doula energy, but it is, I think I'm saying this metaphorically. Maybe some of you are death doulas and you've worked with certain families, but there is a sense that you aid people in some kind of transitionary process, and you do it in such an interesting, unique, creative way. Some people might even think that you are very groundbreaking, or maybe even like genius level at whatever it is that you do. But we have like the Leo Aquarius axis accented here so often, it just seems to be inverted. It's almost like you're leading leaders, you know, but you're doing it from such a place of Aquarian values, which makes me think that you could be a leader of some type of Aquarian organization with Aquarian values, right? Of like finding your place, you know, healing, being a humanitarian, all of that stuff, being different and not needing to stand out so much. And you're really good at like finding that balance here. Yeah. And I think there seems to be something about the ideas that are like refreshing, and you don't hold yourself to traditional ideas or being constrained in any way. And because of that, you're really able to knock some things loose here for people. And that's what I mean by that death doula energy. And the way that this is coming through in my mind, so like in the tarot, there's a run of it where it's like the Hangman, death card, temperance card, right? So this like really is the anatomy of a transformation. You probably know this better than anyone. You have this death doula energy, but there's that phase of stagnation, and wondering and trying to get a new perspective and not really feeling ready to take a step. And then there, of course, is that death energy where there's a clinging, but then there's that like transformative process. And there is a sense here of you going to the 8th house, right? In that scorpionic death energy. And so you're finally willing to go there, and then you come out on the other side in the temperance where you're willing to turn a corner. Oftentimes you can have an extreme reversal in that negative fortune that you just had, and it can create some feeling of high-mindedness and maybe even like non-attachment and like a destruction of something that was harmful, and maybe even like overcoming adversity. You help people through all areas of that process is what it looks like, understanding each one of those things. And they're just so grateful. And I think that you are probably, there's something here about your ideas. They're fresh, they're new, you're very good at putting them into words. A lot of you are very inspirational, like you're good speakers, and maybe you even bring some, I don't know, there's something here about wisdom to just like regular people, but it's like, maybe wisdom isn't the right word, but I don't know. There is something here like that. And I think it's because like you have very high standards here for yourself and for your craft. And through, I don't know, maybe some of you do have a touch of like perfectionism, and you like to serve higher causes. There's a sense here that you lead by example, and you maybe you put a lot of effort into whatever you do, and you've overcome a lot of odds and obstacles here yourself. There's a sense that people would like to be close to you, though, like closer to you, because you seem to be a little bit removed, and you're not around these people all the time. That's like kind of what I'm getting. You come in when it's needed, you drop this beautiful realization, and I'm getting that you're an enlightener of some kind. You bring illumination, you bring a sudden shift, a sudden realization that allows people to release the need to know all the answers, to reframe things, I feel like some of you could be very unassuming as well. People can't quite get a read on you, or you seem very cold or very distant, and then you reveal your beautiful colors and people are like, wow, that person is absolutely amazing. Some of you could work with the physical body. There's a lot of Aries energy here. So maybe this is you help, people that you help build a sense of self, and or a stronger sense of self, or you encourage their sense of self and independence, possibly even their careers, and you bring a lot of clarity in. I feel like some of you guys, you're dark horses. You come out of left field. People aren't really expecting whatever it is that you bring. I for some reason, I want to say this has to do with your appearance. I don't know why. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's like that. I think it was the Now You See Me movie where they had to do like this heist, and some high level scientist was supposed to meet with someone, and like it was, everybody was addressing the man in the room, but it was really like that woman who was wearing the low cut dress and everything. She was the scientist. It might be something like that where it's like, oh, you're the scientist, yeah. And you bring a lot of healing, and you're so like chill about it. People feel like you're their friend. Even though maybe there is a distance, maybe you're a little out there. I think a lot of you could spend a lot of time in your head, like thinking about ideas and things. Maybe that's why you're not, and you're just like one of the group. But at the same time, like people feel like you're friends and that you help them. And they want to be friends with you, and they want to give back to you as well. That makes people feel very good. They feel like you are an expert here in something, and maybe you help them cut cords. That's again, this like, you have just a strong death energy so that they can find their own fulfillment. And there's a sense that you help purify things here as well. Now I'm seeing the King of Swords like heating up his sword and then getting a splinter out. So I don't know if that means anything to you, but some of you are very good cooks, and your personality can be very larger than life. And maybe you do have like, maybe you have a group around you, or you have like social media accounts or something. But I think maybe sometimes people don't expect you to say what you're going to say. And I don't know if it's like if it's in a funny way or if it's in like a knowledgeable way. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe both. Maybe maybe you're witty and you like to catch people off guard. with your mouth, but, like to make them laugh. Or if it's just your knowledge, they are expecting you to follow a certain train of thought that everyone else does. And then you go off the beaten path, and it's meaningful and it's profound. I think for some of you, you help clear up their doubt in something, but I think the majority of you help people get comfortable with doubt. And you're a liberator. I love, this is 8th house energy here. And this, I always think of this, but I did a reading over on my Instagram once, and it was like, these people travel the river Styx, which of course it's in Hades. And in a place where most people are afraid to go, these people have their guide level certification. That's you. And there's a sense that you make it accessible for other people, that you've gone through things that are maybe 8th house stuff, right? So that could be, I don't know. It could be traumas, death, fears, phobias, anything that's dark and people don't want to look at, anything to do with sex, financial, taboo things, surgeries, you name it, detective level knowledge. You've done a lot of that mining, and then you're able to bring it up for a group of people in order to really make a splash and to liberate. There's a sense here of like, I love you, so I liberate. Maya Angelou, love liberates. So there's something about the way you interact where it's very liberating for people, and they do synthesize that as love. So you have helped people cut cords with things. People, places that were very traditional and maybe like overbearing. You welcome all people. You might have a lot of different types of friends. You could travel around a lot, especially in your mind. I just feel like you're wicked smart. Like, I literally think some people view you as some kind of genius. Some of you are very technical in whatever it is that you do, and there could be a connection with science, even if it's just your scientific approach to whatever it is that you do, where you understand the scientific method and you apply it to your ideas, and that's like in part what has gotten you really, really far. But yeah, basically I would sum this up as a death doula, and that you are a liberator, and that you help people nurture their sense of self, no matter how weird it is. To like regular people. I don't even know what a regular person is. I really don't believe in them. I think they're a myth. We all think it's like the fairies and the gnomes. They're all myths. I think it's like the normal regular person that's actually a myth, that nobody really fits that mold. And I feel like you probably feel that way too. Yeah. So you have really helped. Look, this is Sun in Scorpio. You've really helped people transform, but come out better on the other side. And maybe you even introduce them to different like alternative healing methods as well. There's also a sense that you have helped them in their relationships, because there's something here like a balance of space and love, like, and oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Cutting ties with unhealthy relationship. I don't know. It's like, I feel like you're really not about codependency in some way, shape, or form. So the things that you get them thinking about their relationships in a different way, and you help to distinguish between what a good relationship and a bad relationship is. Some of you really, your partners, the people that you date, could be different than yourself, or the people that you're in one-on-one friendships with are different than yourself, or it could be like even rebellious, like some kind of rebellious choice. I don't know what that would mean, but for your circumstances. So yeah, I love this. I love doing this reading. I think I said this last year because I just feel like I get to see about like who watches my channel, and it's like the coolest people. So this was beautiful, you guys. You all are death doulas and people who you're not scared. You're fearless. Yeah, this pile's fearless. You probably don't feel fearless, but people view you as fearless because you aren't afraid to go to the 8th house, basically. And then you come back up and you're like, look what I found. And people are like, cool. You could have like kept that for yourself and made $1 bajillion off of it. And still probably had people think you were a humanitarian, but here you just gave it to us because you want us to be free. That's like amazing. So anyways, that's what I have for you guys. Also, I will just tell you, you have magic at the bottom of the deck. So there's something about you that maybe feels magic, or Rebellious. There's a sense of warning here as well too. Like maybe you warn people because Morgan Le Fay, I love her. She warns like King Arthur, and people don't quite know what to think about her. Like, is she a villain? Is she to be praised? Like, oh, nobody really knows, but she, whatever it is, she's powerful and she does her own thing. And I think that there's something about you because you're so different. People have that like, ooh, like, oh, you don't fit in a box, pile number 2, and you don't encourage others to either. So yay, more of you. Please reproduce if you want, or just reproduce your thought processes. That's what I more mean. Replicate. That's a word you'd use. Anyways, that's what I have for you guys, pile number 2. Thank you so much for being you, and I'm thankful for you, and I hope that you're spending today with someone who is thankful for you too. Bye, guys. Oh my gosh, pile number 3, yes. I wondered why this envy card was here, and now this is making total sense. So who is thankful for you? Well, there is 2 groups of people here. It's very, very interesting. So the first one is people who have maybe they're going through a difficult time. I'm hearing girl interrupted. So just people who have felt stagnant or stuttered in their own life. I feel like they are insecure in some way about how to proceed forward. They're lacking in confidence because they feel like they can't win. And I think these people are used to successful people or people who they perceive as having achieved something, which you are perceived in this energy to them. But they're used to people with that, like really being pompous or arrogant and in some way, shape, or form, like pushing them down or trying to do weird power plays and dominance things. And you don't do that. You actually encourage people and that they can do it too, right? I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. And so this, I think that these people could have had some, maybe they're going through a hard time in their life where they're feeling depressed or they're feeling like they hit a real low point for themselves. And for others of these people, they have really heard people say to them that they're never going to amount to anything or that they are just what they are. It's very fixed mindset, right? Like, oh, well, we're all just born and we are what we are. But you actually encourage people. And I think that you might have a bit of a rags to riches story yourself, or you talk about the struggle. You don't pretend like you are Athena, like emerging from Zeus's head fully formed. You're like, no, I wasn't born and I was Athena. I had to build my way up to something. Funny enough, Athena, she's goddess of wisdom, goddess of war, goddess of strategy. So some of you guys are in this that energy of that beautiful blend where you can be very strategic and you encourage people's wisdom. You might say things like that. Listen, with a little wisdom, a little life experience, and a good strategy behind you, you can get anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's very a meritocracy, like kind of a vibe coming from you. And so, yeah, like, I think these people thought that no matter what they did before, like they couldn't win. And there's some kind of like cyclical issue here. And so now these there's something about you where maybe because I'm seeing a link now between Scorpio and Capricorn. So I think like for a lot of you, maybe you had gone through your own difficult time. But you were also like very motivated by that. You had a lot of goals that you wanted to achieve for yourself, and you might be doing something for a living now that reflects like the problems or like the progress that you needed to make for yourself, and you're open about that in some way, where there's very much like a living by example. And that's another thing that people are grateful about for you, is that you are what you say you are. You live your own example. You don't like what does Vince Vaughn say in The Breakup? He's like, all you do is make moves from up in your ivory tower. Like, you don't just make moves from in your ivory tower. You get down there, or you've been down there, and you're like the leader that's, if everybody's going to battle, like you're in your gear and you're out front. Do you know what I'm saying? It's very much that energy from you. And these people also think that you bring them down to earth. You give them a realistic and accurate perspective of reality. You don't encourage like, like daydreams. You encourage them to kind of put their nose to the grindstone and actually start making a plan for themselves and thinking about like their own goals. And I think their goals are tied in with their own healing. And I think for a while, like these people have started to make moves like kind of in private, and they think about the day when they're going to like bring something out into the forefront to help people. Because there's something here, like I feel like some of you don't talk about this, you just live this way, but there's a sense that like, yeah, man, if you struggle with this certain thing, that's not by accident, and it's also not some kind of like a judgment upon you by God or some sort of a death sentence. That's your greatest gift. And you're gonna know that with 8th house energy, right? Detective style, inside and out, expert level knowledge, learning firsthand from experience. That wasn't on your plate for no reason. So you can find your way through, and then you can help other people find their way through. And that's how we're all going to do it, because it takes all of us. It's that kind of an energy. And so I think these people here would want you to know, like what they would want to say to you about like their gratitude is that you help them cultivate some kind of inner strength. You help them like, I don't know, maybe increase their own influence. I think first within their own mind, where it was like they didn't have to listen to these other people who were just trying to keep them down and who didn't understand them. They weren't weird or like different or strange. They're the same as everyone else. They just have different challenges. And our challenges are like how we can grow and like how we can give to the world. That is our own cocoon that we have to struggle and get our wing strength from. You very much make that clear. With the Magician at the bottom of the deck, you make people feel like they have everything they need to move forward, and that they are capable and that they are competent. I think some of you might be very chatty, and good with your words. You know your own mind. You know what you think about things. With the Knight of Wands, I feel like you make people think that they are their own rescuer, and that a part of this like process of getting where it is that you're going is just know thyself. I think that's a big part of what you preach, is like, listen, I'm not here to tell you what's right or what's wrong, but I'm here to tell you, if you know yourself, if you know and you can be realistic about your own strengths and weaknesses, then, and if you know where that is, like basically where you're starting from, and you know where it is you want to go, the healing, the progress, the goals you have, you can get there. But you can't get there unless you're like honest about it, and everybody's got problems, so like you shouldn't feel afraid of that, And you make people feel their own internal power that they might have been cut off from, like in the past, or just fallen off the horse, metaphorically, hopefully. Hopefully just metaphorically. It'd be terrible if they had really fallen off. And like help to get their inner beast kind of under control, and help to organize their thoughts and things like that. Now, there is, okay, I'm hearing the Daughtry song, There's No Life After You. I can't remember what it's called, but I know it's like, because there's no life after you. Maybe some people thought there was no life after a breakup, or after like a defeat or some kind of failure. like, okay, well, now I'm a failure for life because I fell down one time, you know? I'm hearing Brene Brown now at the TED Talk where she was like, I can't wait to tell people the big secret about this, that it's really the failure convention, that everyone here is not afraid to fail, and that we've all failed a million times and we don't talk about that enough. That's like your energy. Okay, so there's another group of people here that's hilarious because, again, because you seem to bridge this gap of like, being successful and being an individual and knowing your own mind, but like I'm hearing Lil Wayne came from the gutter looking like my mother. Like because you're not shy of like, well, I didn't come out of Zeus's head fully formed, then they're the people that are like powerful or they have position in life. They're actually grateful for you too, even though they try not to look at you and they try not to like acknowledge you or think about it too much. You make them realize that they're just the same as everybody else, but with different challenges. That maybe they're not like God's gift or that they're somehow exalted over everyone. And it's actually a really good feeling for them to realize that they are among us, that we are one human family. That it feels good the other way too. They probably won't admit it, but I think that even people like that, you know, there's something here where a lot of them are maybe overcompensating as well. Like they have their own flaws and weaknesses and they don't always feel strong, but because of their positions, they maybe feel less inclined to admit that they have weaknesses or something. So I don't know. I feel like you allow them to feel more human as well. You bring them back down to earth as well and make them feel part of like the greater human family. And they actually do like that as well. So that's pretty interesting. I feel like overall you help people to reflect and you encourage them to form their own vision of life and to be an individual and to heal and to start and to build, you know, to build something interesting and creative and truly something that's going to last, you know, like in their own lives. And it's beautiful because maybe some of these people did struggle with envy. So like on the one hand, these like very powerful people, they could struggle with like keeping up with the Joneses. And they're like, man, if I really admit it to myself, this freaking sucks. You know, I have all these things around me and I look like I'm killing it, but I'm miserable every day. You know, not all of them. And they certainly don't have that feeling all the time, but they can tap into that around you. And then these other people who have felt blocked and they haven't felt good enough, maybe there's a habit of comparing themselves to other people. And I'm hearing that concept of the hurt locker from L.M.S.W, where it's like, this is somebody that you want to be like. And so that was maybe this cyclical issue that was running their life and they never felt good enough. But instead now they're building their own. They're building themselves from the inside out and they're doing it with a lot of grace and a lot of faith. So this is so beautiful. Thank you guys. Oh, look, you've got the focus card at the bottom of the deck, which with this old energy, it's like even in the midst of winter where you don't think like maybe food isn't as abundant as it is in the summer, even through our own winters and the times in our lives where we feel stuck, stagnant, blocked, depressed, dark night of the soul, confusion, downtrodden energy, we can regain our focus. We can figure out our way out of there. And Ol actually provides a lot of food for like his community. So I think there's a sense of you being willing to help people out as well, where it's like, lean on my strength a little bit if you need to. That's, you know, and then you'll do it for me one day. So that's what I have for you guys. This is a beautiful energy. Thank you for watching my channel. I'm so glad we're all here together. I hope you're spending today with somebody who is very thankful for you. And I will see you guys at another video. Bye.